Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the state of Kahite. Let's get started. I'm LaVon Mitchell. I'm your host and moderator for tonight's program. And just a few things before we get started. If you have not done so already, please mute or turn your cell phone off. We will have a question and answer period. All questions will be held to the end. We have a microphone right in the middle here. So as the program goes on, jot your questions down so you don't forget them. And then at the end of the program, please come up and let us know who the question is. Let us know who the question is directed to and what the question is. Obviously, the question should pertain to tonight's program. Just a couple of items to note. The agenda is based on feedback from all of you. I've received a lot of good information from all of you, and that's what makes up the agenda tonight. There were a few questions about the Parks and Recreation, and I know they had a separate meeting, so we won't be addressing those tonight. If there are topics that it's clear that we need more dialogue around, we can schedule a breakout session so that we have more time to discuss it. And one thing I did want to mention is I would like to see a show of hands. Who knows what the help spot is? Oh, that is wonderful. It is amazing how many people don't know what it is. But I did want to remind everybody to use the help spot. And it's not just for tickets, it is for questions also. So if you're wondering about brush pickup, you can actually put in a help spot and they'll let you know about brush. So just something to think about. Use help spot. They're very good and they do monitor it. So there's a few items that we will not be talking about tonight. Politics, religion, and our $80 water.
What about that $80?
But what we will be talking about is a new group called Civic Affairs. Hopewell is here. Neighborhood Safety, Highway Safety Committee, the Kahite Pub Report. We're going to hear about Kahite Beautification, State of Monroe County, POA updates. Our ACC representative is here, and then we'll wrap it up with Laura talking about the Kahite Green Space. So Civic Affairs. Most of you, well, all of you are POA members. You are property owner members. Property owners, you are part of the POA because you own property. There's also another group called the Homeowners Association, and you can join that Homeowners Association. And part of our HOA is we have created a group called Civic Affairs. So the purpose of the HOA is to represent the interests of the Tellico Village residents, making sure they're knowledgeable about activities that are going on, things that may affect their life. And today we have POA candidate forums so that you're familiar with who is running and you can make an informed decision when you vote. But now we're also adding to that, we want to make sure that you're knowledgeable about state political issues, educating and informing Tellico Village property owners on those important state and political issues. And we communicate so that you know what's going on. So Civic Affairs, there are a total of 6 members. We have 3 in Loudoun County. Of course, I didn't highlight them, but I did highlight the 3 in Monroe County. Tom Mullen, Mike Paulson, and Greg Reddy. They communicate with TAS, which is our water, Monroe County, City of Von Orr, TRDA, TVA, a myriad of other acronyms. And their main goals are, number one, what do we need to be aware of but doesn't require action? What do we need to be aware of that may require action? And importantly, what do we need to be aware of that requires action? So I think that this is a very important group, and I appreciate their participation, and I just wanted to let everybody know that we've got that new group. So without further ado, I am going to introduce the Hopewell Fire Department.
Thank you, Levon, and thank you for all that you do for us here in Kahite. We truly appreciate it. Hi, good evening. My name is Mike Click. My wife Pam and I live here in Kahite. We're over on Hiwanihi Trail for coming up on about 3 years now. So we're fairly new, but we're loving every second of living here in East Tennessee and in Kahite. And with that, we wanted to give back a little bit. My good friend Dave Lang over there and I are two of your resident volunteer firefighters. We went through the training. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're loving that too. But we thought with the State of Kahite meeting that it would be more than appropriate to introduce our new fire chief for Hopewell Fire, Zach Perry, who's with us tonight, and we were hoping that he could bring us up and get informed with the state of fire protection, fire service here in Kahite. It's an important item, and I'd like, if you would, for you to help me welcome our new fire chief, Zach Perry, to come and speak with us.
Good evening. Dave here has like 31 years of fire experience, but unfortunately he's from California. So Tennessee laws required me to force him to go through 16 hours of training and 64 more hours of training. And just this week, 4 certificates came in, 2 for Mike and 2 for Dave. So we thought we would put his back. Whoop, wrong way. Fires have changed a lot in the years, so we're going to go through some slides that talks about how classic fuels, modern fuels change how they function. The picture here shows the engine that was purchased a few years ago that is housed here in Kahite. Mike and Dave operate that engine. It runs as a backup engine on a lot of fires. It is very comparable to the main engine at the main station. The main difference being size of stations. This is the picture of the sign we put up. We try to keep sort of a modern look, but with a classic style. Almost everything we do, try to remember the past, but move forward in the future. Let's see. So Dave was promoted to a captain with all his years of experience. His main focus is to oversee different training aspects, work with some other of the guys, and put together actual different scenarios so these individuals all become better firemen each time we practice. Ginger runs our EMR, emergency first responders, out of the Kahite area. We're working on getting some training and talking to a few of them to working on medical rehab. There was a fatality fire not too long ago in the county. One of my guys, who I work with at Sweetwater full time and is on our department, had a heart attack during that fire. Had we had emergency personnel specifically running rehab to run vital signs, make sure they get 20 minutes of rest, get water and things, that could have affected that a lot differently. He had 2 stents, he's back at work, but I knew something like this might happen. And this is one of those where we're gonna have to get ready instead of be ready deals. And that brings us sort of to some of the conversation later tonight. This is 132, engine 13 and brush 13 in front of the station, probably a month or 2 ago when we were working on the new ads for the website. We have a new website. I have a new website creator that works on that and our Facebook page. She lives here in Kahite, and they have donated lots of time to helping us get up to par on our modern conveniences. Let's see. This is our little station. So some of y'all know we have a ladder truck because you probably saw it here on a Sunday when we were testing the ladders. Every year we have to test the ladders. So load them down with 500 pounds, sit there and wait on it, and they measure it and see if it moves too much and things like that. And then all the ground ladders and everything. So we started this program after we got the ladder truck. Unfortunately, it is way too big for any buildings that we own. With the houses and sizes that you have, you know, over 1,000 square feet, you need more than 1,000 gallons of water per minute. The truck with the other two can put out 3,750 gallons a minute on one intake, and they each have 2 intakes. So we can put out a lot of water really quickly, but we want to get that closer to home. Let's see. The Women's Association, when we didn't get enough money when we sent in and asked for some from a particular organization. So we were short about $5,000 or $6,000. The Women's Club stepped up and made up that shortfall when we changed the engines. So we put their name on the door, said, hey, you own it, you helped us, thank you very much. So a few years ago when I came to speak, I had a picture of a ladder truck. It was one of my dreams to get a ladder truck because aerial access on high roofs, large structures, booming down and spraying somebody's Tesla that might have caught on fire in the garage. You know, and I say these things in a joking way, but it is serious. Battery-powered walls, golf carts, kids' toys, things with lithium batteries, they short out, they get hot, and they run away. It's just the nature of what it is. That is one of my nightmare scenarios to have to happen in the neighborhood. We have a lot of that. Y'all have newer houses, so I'm not really worried about the wiring starting it. You know, maybe a squirrel in the attic chewing on a wire, but the lithium battery thing is a serious thing. Power tools in that group as well. This is our 30 square mile area that we cover. Goes from ball play in the Povo area all the way up and ends here. The station being in the middle is around 4.5, 5 miles from almost anywhere in the district. Having a truck where we have a large population center here is going to change that a little bit because our population is about split between the whole 30 miles and the few little acres. I think it's 450 acres, 500 acres we have here. So landmass size, we have a lot of people in a small area, and then we have a lot of rural interface on the outside edge. Ginger? Yes, ma'am. Right side. Right side.
Okay. Okay. Hi, I'm Ginger McDonald. I coordinate the EMRs, which stands for Emergency Medical Responders. In terms of emergency medical services, we are at the bottom of the totem pole, training-wise and fire-wise. Hello? Barry says he can't hear me. So anyway, we have found, and the model worked in Tellico Village before they started it here, but when it takes a while for the ambulances to get here, it helps to have first responders right in the neighborhood. Most of the time we can get to, we will get the call at the same time that the ambulance gets the call. And obviously if the ambulance is in Von Orr or is in Madisonville or God forbid Tellico Plains or Sweetwater, we can get to you a lot faster and at least get care started so that when the ambulance arrives, we can give our report and hand you off to the ambulance crew, which has worked out great. I don't have my little vest on tonight. It helps to have the vest on because then the ambulance crew isn't saying, who are you? And especially if the vest is on over my pajamas, it really helps. And that has happened. All the fellow EMRs can let you know that. So we have a good group. There are 6 of us right now, including one gentleman that is a builder in Kahite. He actually is with the Tellico Village Fire Department. But when he's here, he responds. And, but we have 2 who are in their final weeks of training right now. So if you see, are Mary Edmonds or Gail here? Gail Fink? Okay, they are literally finishing up. They took their skills tests last night. They have to take their final written exam someday next week, and then they take their national registration exam shortly after that. So we will have 7. Ideally, I'd like to have 10
because then we could arrange a call schedule or something like that. But right now, that isn't in the cards. So anyway, I've already explained that. Let's see what else I wrote here. Nope, I went the wrong way? No. Nope. I'm almost there. Okay, I did put something in the Kahite email listserv, whatever that thing is that we all like to complain in, telling you how many calls we had last year and how many fire alarm calls we had. And I did want to real briefly talk about the fire alarm calls. I am not trained in fire. What we can do is if the fire alarm comes across, and what we get is Central Dispatch says something about fire alarm at 189 Galanvi Trail. Alarm company hasn't been able to reach the homeowner. And so we run over there, and the homeowner's in the garage sweeping up, and there's dust all over the place, has no idea that the alarm is going off in his house. And that's the time that we can call and say, okay, don't worry about the bringing the fire trucks, we know what this is. Or we answer the door and he says, oh, I was cooking bacon and I set off the fire alarm. But if it's, I don't know why the alarm went off, we're making the fire department come. Because we are not trained to find that fire, if there is one at all. So we will be the first ones to come, but then after that, if we see the need, we say, go ahead, send the fire truck, because we don't know what it is. So that was, do you remember, Jeanette, we had 25 fire alarm calls or something like that in 24? Yeah, well, actually, we had a call at the guard shack last night. That was it last night, night before? So, it's even us. We had a fire alarm at the guard shack. But of those calls, all but one were false alarms. And so we feel like we're doing a service to our friends in the fire department by not making that truck come out. And the reality is we can get to that house and determine that it is a false alarm way before they get to the station to bring the truck out. So, and that will be talked about later, right, Zach? Yes. Okay. Okay, I just went to the eye doctor today and I cannot read that. They told me I had 20/20. I think I've got that all covered. Okay, so here's our numbers. 69 total calls in Kahite in 23, 82 total calls in 24, and I think 22 was way off, was much higher than either of those. 56 medical calls out of those 82, 7 public assists, that's EMS talk for somebody fell and they couldn't get up. 19 fire and smoke alarms, and of course all of those were false alarms with exception of one, which was a true carbon monoxide emergency, and they had to deal with it. Even if it's something that you don't think is serious, please call. I mean, if you think you can get your loved one to the car and you can get your loved one to the emergency room, that's great. But from personal experience, I was involved in something where I was, okay, I'll take you to the ER, and the person keeled over minutes later. And if I'd been driving that person in the car, what was I supposed to do? I couldn't stop driving. I certainly couldn't deal with the person that I was trying to deal with. Call 911. Maybe it'll be a false alarm, but who cares? At least we're reassured. And the proper care can be initiated immediately, especially in cardiac instances. Getting proper care initiated fast is primary. Okay, I talked about vial of life in the last Kahite. Does everyone have a vial of life in there? Okay, okay. Another thing is installing a reflective mailbox sign. I've been harping about that for years, but if no one can read your mailbox sign at night, it's going to take people a while to find you. It's better now with GPS than it ever was, but it's still very hard sometimes. When 911 is activated, unlock your door so we can get in. I don't want to have to take your door down. I'm tough, and I can kick it in, but I don't want to. Always give 911 your street number. The central dispatch isn't great about that, but when they do give it to us, we are happy. It isn't as big of a deal here because the Tellico Village learned their lesson, but up in the village where there's an Anugo Place, an Anugo Lane, an Anugo Circle, and an Anugo Trace, the poor EMS people go nuts. So it really helps to have your street number. Okay. Once you do give 911 a call, stay online until either we arrive or they tell you it's okay to hang up, because they are constantly sending out new information as you give it, and it's coming to us over the radio. And then add to your contact list that non-emergency number, 423-444-4357, which spells help. That way, if you need to call Central Dispatch and it's not an emergency or you're worried about something, you have got that and you can pull it up quick. But 911 works fastest. And one more thing is if you're not sure, you know, and you call me and you say, can you come over and fix me? I can, but when I come over, I am not insured by Monroe County EMS. If you call 911 first, I am insured, liability-wise, by Monroe County EMS. And if I fall down and break my leg on your driveway, you are now liable for me. And so it's protecting both of us when that occurs. Oh, okay. All right. You're on.
Thank you. All right, today's house fire. They go really, really fast, and the slides are going to fly. This is initial stages. You can see the fire in one spot, and as it goes, and you look at the minutes tick off, you can look at old cotton fuels and new plastics and stuff that's all petroleum derived, how they get to a point where in just a few minutes, everything's hot, everything's off gas, and it is a dangerous environment. You can't breathe in it. We can't breathe in it unless we have our masks that are $10,000 a piece. Don't do that. All right. We have a lot of projects we're working on, and if you'll sort of scan the slide, you'll see the different things that we work on and the different groups that we've done. Dick Henry here in the front has been on a committee for trying to acquire the station that was told to be built some 20 odd years ago. We've worked about 4.5 years to try and push that forward. Hopefully, with an addition of Mitch's help, we will have an ambulance housed here, and you will have faster response if they're not running somewhere else. But that's about the best I can do, is get a station built, put fire trucks here, have a place for the guys to hang out and be in the neighborhood out of your way. You know, because if they're hanging out doing some training and the call comes out, they're here a lot faster. The EMS crew sleeping here, they're not running another call, they're going to be here a lot faster. So if we can work through some of these problems, we will definitely be able to get response times and personnel to you much quicker. Let's see. Volunteering. We are taking volunteers of all types. If you are computer savvy and you like doing websites, we have people doing that. We have people writing grants. We have people that could volunteer if they want to help throw ladders on a fire scene that can take some basic fire training in order to be on a fire scene. The EMRs, or somebody that wants to become an EMR and then want to go out and help on a fire and take vital signs, but not have to do any of the dangerous stuff that, you know, get you all dirty and sweaty and things like that, but they can help save our lives by monitoring our vitals to make sure we're not overworking ourselves. The bottom right screen is us coming back from Iowa with the Engine 132 and 800 foot of hose I acquired for free. The battalion symbol, which is something where we develop 5 fire departments that work together. Madisonville, Gudger, Notchie Creek, Hopewell, and Tri-Community. So when the call goes out, it hits 5 departments and over 137 personnel. So when all of us are volunteering and all of us are working, you're getting a higher number of people to come help you. And we have set up PayPal and Venmo, take checks, all kinds of things, because there is nothing in the fire service that is cheap or free. We've joined GSA program where I get stuff through the military. I've had some great help out of the Sheriff's Department on a couple items over the years. And the Board of Commissioners, we got a boat last year when we started our Marine operations team. We now have 6 advanced divers, and we have a grant that came from the Grubbs Foundation to train public safety divers. So we will help the county sheriff's dive team by giving them more manpower when we get out doing a dive. So we've just about doubled the amount of divers in the county with their efforts this past year. In June, we will get the public safety part done, and that was going to be paid for through a grant. Fire plans. Basically, you sign up, you can scan the barcode, there's papers floating around. We will come out, analyze your house, try to get an idea where you need smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, ladders for egress to get out of the house, those kinds of things. So if you want that done, you can scan the barcode. They've got it set up where you can pick a time, and we'll just show up and take care of it. Some of the stuff will have a cost involved with it, very minor as far as a markup on that, because it's part of a fundraising activity, but also public awareness and safety increase inside the neighborhood. The golf outing is changed. I believe it was August, it said. And sorry for running through this so fast, but I'm trying to keep everybody on track. Thank y'all.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up, Neighborhood Watch. And there's Sherry. Do you want me to hit your slide for you?
You can if you want. Hi, how is everybody? For those of you that don't know me, I'm Sherry and Sherry Lee, and I run the Neighborhood Watch program for all of Tellico Village. So just a quick little background, I think this is a little bit of a funny story, is I used to live here in Kahite, and I sat in one of these very state of Kahite meetings when I first moved here. And now, whatever it is, 4 years later, I run the Tellico Village Neighborhood Watch program, thanks to Tommy Jones. So, and all I asked was, does Kahite have a Neighborhood Watch program? And next thing you know, this is what I'm doing. I want to be quick and leave the time for Sheriff Jones to talk, but I do want to give you guys statistics that do come out regularly. I do a quarterly report for crime in Tellico Village, and I track it separately, Loudoun County for the main village and Monroe County for Kahite. Kind of give you a perspective. Calls for service, just the first quarter of 2025, that's January, February, March. Calls for service, Loudoun County Sheriff, in the main village, 292 calls for service, okay? Monroe County Sheriff here in Kahite, calls for service 21, okay? Reported crimes, Loudoun County Sheriff in the main village, 14, and reported crimes here in Monroe, in Kahite, would be 3. And proportionately, you got to remember that you guys are way smaller than the main village. The main village right now is touting about 6,000 homes with about 11,000 people, and you're not close to that. But there is an uptick of activity. Summer is here. The good weather months are here, so things will start happening. Those statistics that I give you do not include security checks, traffic stops, or traffic accidents, and they do not also include any medical assistance that either the Loudoun County Sheriff or the Monroe County Sheriff do with their local fire department. Okay, so medical calls, traffic stops, and that jump those calls, but I'm talking just basic, somebody called 911, call for service. So that's the crime stats, and I'll let Sheriff Jones talk about that in a few minutes. I just want to talk a little bit about the Neighborhood Watch program right now. 2024, the Neighborhood Watch program started. It was underneath the HOA. It transitioned over to the POA. What that gave us is a little bit more benefit to communication throughout the village. If you haven't noticed, and hopefully you do, subscribe and read the telegram. The telegram I try to put out a safety bulletin every week in the telegram. Right now I started an 8-week 8 weeks, you'll see an article every week in the Telegram on a different type of spam that's going around, and a different kind of scam, that's going around. That could be anything from an elder scam, credit card scam, bank scam, Medicare scam. So if you go back, if missed the one that just came out, I think yesterday, go back, that was the first one, and then for the next 8 weeks, you'll see a new one that I'm putting out. Again, that's going to be the main communication for Telco Village Neighborhood Watch safety bulletins and information regarding programs, in-person programs that I put on. I have kept the Kahite email version that we used to have, that Google email, for immediate attention neighborhood watch things for you guys. I can't do that in the main village. It just doesn't work over there, and there's just not enough participation. So, but you guys are so good, and your email base is really complete. So I'm able to continue to use that every once in a while if something immediately has to go out to you guys. We handed out, before I forget, I can't do this program by myself over here since I don't live over here anymore, and even when I was over here, I couldn't do the whole village by myself. So I have to thank, and I like give a round of applause to Lisa Lawson, who runs it over here. Okay. And in case you didn't know, I've known Lisa a really, really long time. We used to both sit right next to each other on a desk at LAPD. So we go back a long ways, and I really appreciate and truly appreciate everything that she does to help me on this side of town over here now. Speaking of your Vacation Away program, how many of you utilize that Vacation Away program? Okay. Well, you should, and if you don't know what it is, it basically, there's a form you can fill out, and what we do is we log, the Neighborhood Watch program logs that form whenever you're away or out of town for an extended period of time. We log that up at the guard shack. The sheriff deputies that come routinely to the guard shack almost on a daily basis, I think, if not more than twice a day, they check that log, and they know who's out of town for that period of time, and they will do, if they can, if they don't get called off to something, they will cruise through Kahite and they will do those checks at your house, okay? That program supplemented the COPS program that the main village had that we didn't have over here. And I believe that our program is running better than the COPS program up there. So, of course, everything runs better in Kahite. Yeah, give yourself applause for that. Yeah. Speaking of that Vacation Away program, you can get that form by either emailing Lisa. I believe there might be some up here at the pub, but I'm going to ask you a favor. Please do not fill out the form while you're at the airport leaving and calling Lisa and saying, oh, by the way, can you fill out my form for me? Or take a picture of it and then send it to her when you're already in Hawaii or Florida or wherever you are. I mean, you knew you were going on vacation. So take the time to fill that form out and get it to her in a timely manner so she has the opportunity to make sure it gets logged correctly in the book, and the sheriffs who go to the guard shack can check it off. And then one thing I'd like to also say is Kahite is so generous, and we appreciate that. The Neighborhood Watch program appreciates it. The Monroe County Sheriffs appreciate it. Anytime I've asked for something, whether it be supplies for the guard shack, or the Monroe County Sheriff was doing collecting some items for victims of the hurricane or anything, and all I asked was that, if you could supply ABC, would you please drop it off on Lisa's porch? And literally within hours, Lisa would send me a picture or call me and say, can you tell them to stop? My porch is overflowing. And she goes, and I don't have any more room in my garage. So thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, because again, I don't get this kind of support over in the main village. So literally I did a program in November and for the whole main village, and I got 40 people to show up. So, and look at this room. This is fantastic. So again, thank you. And I'll be around for a little bit if you have any questions about the Neighborhood Watch program. And I'm going to turn this over to Sheriff Jones so he can talk to you a little bit about Monroe County right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Lisa. I do appreciate everything you guys do and everyone that's involved in the. Oh, is it down?
I got you.
You got it? All right, I'll start over. Sherry, Lisa, thank you for everything for the Neighborhood Watch program. You guys are doing a great job running it. All the volunteers, people that's involved in it, we appreciate you guys. And like Sherry said, it's amazing the donations and the things that you guys do. Just one email, and we're hauling truckloads of food and items out of here to take to other counties, and we really appreciate that. Now, you guys have figured it out very well how to keep a deputy here. You keep little Debbies and Twinkies at that guard shack, they're going to stay here. It's kind of like feeding our deer. You know, you're going to keep them. Now, I can't take too long. The mayor told me earlier that he has like a 2-hour presentation, so I've got to be very short. But, guys, we do greatly appreciate you. Do what now? Oh, they are, yes. Very. One thing that you guys don't see much of is the jail, the county jail. So I'm going to give you a few numbers on it, just so you kind of got, well, some of you may see the jail. I just don't know that. So I don't know. But currently we have a 364-bed facility. We have 219 male inmates, 64 female inmates, for a total of 283 that's in custody as of today. And to break that down a little bit is we're 81 from full capacity. We have 17 in custody for child support, 76 in custody, which are felony pretrials, which means they've committed felons but have not been convicted yet. We're still waiting on the court proceedings. 38 misdemeanor pretrials, 2 minimuses, which means that they have been and they're ordered to do jail time. 1 parole violation. We have 90 sentenced felons and 5 sentenced felons less than a year, and 43 misdemeanor offenders. Now, you felons, we have a board bill. The state of Tennessee TDOC reimburses the somewhat of the cost of housing those inmates. That's something we generate around $1.2 million a year for housing those people, which there again offsets a lot of money and tax dollars. Because unfortunately, just by design, you guys fund this. And so anything I can do, anything that we can do at the county level to offset cost, we're going to do it. I feel like it's not really fair that you, good law-abiding citizens that never use that facility, you pay for it. So the least we could do is try to come up with ways to offset the cost and keep our hands out of your pockets. We're generating $27,000 to $28,000 a month off of our phone revenue. Last year, the jail budget, I have 5 different budgets, and the jail budget was, on the jail side, was a little bit over $3.9 million. And we were $96,000 shy of generating all that money back to the county. We do have the county commission, Commissioner Summey, the mayor, they were great. We do have a certified workhouse now that the county commission has deemed a workhouse. That means that I can basically double dip. So we're getting a state board bill. We can now go out and charge an additional board bill for inmates actually going to work in jobs. So we have our first partner, met with them yesterday. This coming week we send 2 inmates out. We're starting very, very small, baby steps. We'll send them out to a job. They will be in street clothes, ankle monitor, and actually will be generating an income. We'll take a board bill from them. Fines, fees, restitution, child support, those things will be paid while they're in custody. This is money that the county's never really got before, just because these guys normally don't work. They get out of jail and they go sell drugs, do what they need to do. So our intentions and our thought process behind this is we offer GED courses, we offer certifications in HVAC, welding, culinary arts, all these certifications. We want these people to come to jail, be reformed, and go back out and live a successful life, not to be coming to the jail over and over and over. A lot of these guys, and these numbers I just gave you, they come back in because of violations. They don't commit new crimes, but they don't necessarily do what they're supposed to. They may fail a drug test, they just don't pay. When that happens, the probation officer issues a violation, and they have the ability to take their street credits, which means they can start that sentence right over again. So if they have all this paid and they have a valid driver's license, all this stuff when they're released, there's really no reason to come back. And if they do come back, and this is my policy, TDOC only allows us, as of this year, to keep inmates with 15 years or less on the sentence. Anything more than that, they have to go into state's custody. My policy is we put this time and effort and hard work into you, and you come back to jail, I'm going to send you to prison as soon as you get convicted. Because apparently what I did, what our staff did, does not work. And they probably need some other options. So that's kind of where we are with the jail. We are a Tier 1 facility now, have been for, what, Mayor, year? Probably about a year now, which means we meet a higher standard for the state of Tennessee. There's only like 11 jails in the entire state that are Tier 1, and we're just probably a few months away from the Tier 2 certification. And how that affects you guys is, one, the more qualifications and certifications we have in the jail, less liability when we do get sued, and we do get sued. Unfortunately, that's probably the biggest liability the county has, is the jail. And on top of that, each time we go up in tier management, we also, our board bill enhances. So it generates more money back into the county. And with the work program, my goal is to, one, see these guys reform, not come back to the jail. In 2014, late 2014, when I took office, our recidivism or repeat offenders were at like 91%. As of a few weeks ago, we're at 62%. So these programs are working. And I think with the work program, we modeled, I wish I could say, hey, I'm the brainchild behind this, and it was my ideal. It wasn't. It was Dyer County Sheriff Box, TDOC, TCI, Tennessee Correctional Institute, all recommended that if you're doing a workhouse, you model it after Dyer County. They have the most successful one in the state of Tennessee right now. So we did, and his repeat offenders, they're in the 20s. This guy, he's just done a great job. And hopefully 4 or 5 years from now, we'll be in the same place. And if it happens, then we'll contract to the state or the marshals or whoever to enhance the board bill, you know, just because we'll have beds available and generate more money. And that money goes back into a pot that everyone kind of feeds out of or is funded out of. So, which is fine. It does help you as taxpayers. Are we taking questions?
At the end.
Okay, well, I'll be over here to the side. Mayor, hope I wasn't too long. Awesome. Okay. I'll be around. You guys got any questions? I'll be over to the side. Thank you.
Deb, do you want to give us an update on the Highway Safety Advisory? Highway Advisory Committee.
Hi, I'm Deb Marshall. I know a lot of you and see a lot of new faces. I am the Kahite representative to the HIAC Committee, which is the Highway Advisory Committee. It used to be the Highway Safety Committee, and it was through the Homeowners Association, but now we are through the POA. I want to get the 800-pound gorilla out of the way right away. There is news on the stoplight at Niles Ferry. Each month, the HIAC Committee has a meeting. It is an open meeting, and anyone is invited to attend. We meet on the second Tuesday of the month at 9 a.m. at the POA offices. So our meeting in March was, I believe, on the 8th or 9th, and we were talking about the Niles Ferry Light, doing the status updates within the committee and the POA, and we had a meeting scheduled with the POA, which we try to do quarterly, not the POA, with TDOT quarterly. And we've decided now to do 2 of these quarterly meetings with Zoom, and then the other 2 we will meet in person. Sometimes it does a little bit better to meet with TDOT in person than otherwise. So at our meeting on March the 13th, we talked with TDOT, who we were talking with, and we asked for quarterly updates on the Niles Ferry Light. And at that point in time, we were told, well, that's a little much, not too much changes between the quarters, and nothing is moving real fast right now, but as soon as one is put out for let and the contract's determined, as we know more information, we will share more information. So our next committee meeting was Tuesday, April the 8th. And Ken Litke, who runs our meetings, received information on Monday, the 7th, to give to the committee that said that the whole project has been delayed 4 months. And we said, well, he said, well, why? What is causing the delay? And they said, well, we'll have to get back to you and let you know. So they did during our meeting on the 8th, and he put them on speakerphone, and they explained to us that the design committee had run into some complications because they ran into some complications with the design. Now, they didn't say what those complications were, but as of our meeting on the 8th, the contract let out to be for bid is late by 4 months. The original date for it to be let out was August of 2025. Now that will be, December probably, and we all know that that's not going to happen in December. It is hopeful. We're not saying it won't, but the likelihood is probably not that going to happen. So it won't be let out until probably the 1st of 2026. So the construction will not start until spring of 2026 through the completion. And officially, the completion of the project has been estimated to the spring of 2028. So it will be a full year of construction. But TDOT did say that they have a lot more control over the construction for this particular project. And they are hopeful that it will be late in 2027 that the project will be done. Now, I gave you all the bad news first, but the good news is that our light is going to be a smart light. It is not going to be the old-fashioned poles kind of things. So it will be linked and it will be computer run. So if there's no traffic going one way and somebody drives up off of Niles Ferry and there's no traffic coming anyway, the stoplight will change. So the traffic should move more smoothly and faster once the light is installed. And that's the best news that I have for you regarding the light. We will keep pushing them. One of the things that I've been trying to do is make sure that we get those quarterly updates and that we keep pushing. We keep pushing. We need to let them know that we are monitoring it and that we want it to happen as quickly with as much quality as possible. Okay? And then next, there's some news about the state roads and the county roads that I can share with you. Route 72 is slated to be repaved this summer, and probably that will happen in July and August. And 72 is down at the stoplight towards Food City and going up towards the main village. It's getting kind of bumpy going on that road, and especially in a couple of areas. So definitely will be a smoother route when we go up to the main village. There will be a project started on the rerouting of Route 322 off of Route 72, which is going to Sweetwater in 2026. And that's commonly called the shortcut to Sweetwater. It goes through the countryside, that kind of very nice ride. That will eliminate, they're going to actually stop the ability to turn left at that 322. There's a lot of accidents there, and it ties up the traffic with the factories coming out and the shifts changing and so forth. So they are going to, as you're going north towards the village, instead of turning left on 322, you will turn left at the light across from the Teleco Industrial Park there. I don't know how they're going to reroute that traffic, but it is supposed to be done, and that will be done in 2026. In the main village, there has been proposed a roundabout at the Food Lion intersection. There's a lot of accidents and a lot of traffic there too. And so Amanda Snowden, who is the region traffic engineer, she is the highest level at TDOT that we work with. She is also checking for additional funds to make that an active TDOT project. And there will be some flashing lights at the current stop signs off of 444 because they feel that if they put some flashing stop signs there, then people will take more time to stop before they pull out at the traffic. It was also suggested that instead of a roundabout, that there be a four-way stop put there. But TDOT has done an extensive analysis there on roundabouts versus four-way stops, and they felt that a four-way stop there, because of so many directions that the traffic is turning, that it would be more dangerous to put in a four-way stop than put in the roundabout. And the roundabout will slow the traffic down. On Niles Ferry Road, our committee is going to take a field review drive all the way down Niles Ferry, starting from 411 all the way through to Madisonville. We want to note the improvements that need to be made, not only from Niles Ferry to Kahite, but all the way through. And then once we have suggestions for improvements there, we will have a meeting with the county supervisor, County Road Supervisor Steve Teague, for requested improvements like the berm where you can get into the ditch and the sorry about that, can get into the ditch and there needs to be gravel put there, that kind of thing. So there's that, and my time is up. Can I quickly go? Quick. Okay, Kahite streets. I have asked for a meeting with Public Works Director Matt Benoit, and of course he's the interim director now, so his schedule is kind of busy, but they called me back and I was in another meeting, so I couldn't take it. So we're going to schedule a meeting with Matt to go over the berm repairs that need to be done in Kahite, the 90-degree turn improvements that would be helpful at the next paving, the restriping of the middle and sides of our streets, because it's very hard to see our streets sometimes with rain, when it's dark in the evenings, if there's fog that moves in quickly, and lighting on the streets. So we're going to see if we can work for him to make sure that he's budgeting some improvements for the streets here. The left turn on Niles Ferry Road, we need to have a better sight improvements there, because if there are people coming into Kahite making the right turn, especially the contract or the grass cutters and all that kind of thing, and they want to make that left turn, they have to come around, and you can't pull up far enough to see to the left to see whether traffic is coming down the road there. So we're going to see if we can work with Ed Grollemond on the fence and that kind of thing. Circle improvements. I know we don't want a lot of signs, and we want to make sure that we can take advantage of the gardens, but there does need to be some improvements with the traffic direction in the circle. And we also are going to see about signage for Kahite Trail, Kahite Pub, Kahite Pro Shop, etc., because when people come, especially in the golf community, and they're not from Tellico Village and Kahite, they kind of wander all around, and so we need to give them some direction. In Von Orr, the black building with the red roof that had so many improvements, that is right now, and I get this from the mayor, but things change, and he's not even aware of them, but I'm going to let you know what he thinks they are now. That is going to be a tobacco liquor store. Okay. There is no movement. There is no movement on the proposed campground casino in that area. There is filler dirt being put into the plot beside the Von Orr Collision Center and the area behind the Realty, beside the Realty area down towards Food City, and at the corner of Church and 411. You've noticed the big piles there. That is fill dirt to level that and bring it up to specifications. And the thought is that whoever owns that property is doing that so that they can either sell or build on that property. The steakhouse is on hold. That was supposed to come down towards the stoplight because the owner of that also put in the Victory Pub, and he's holding off on the steakhouse for a while. The left going towards Food City, the development there, that is it was first going to be townhomes, and now they think it's going to be small single-family homes. But that could be up, they're going to see how many they can pack in there. So that's going to be another source of traffic. There is a development that is already underway behind the schoolhouse and off, if you turn right at the light at Sloan's and go down about a quarter of a mile, there's a large housing complex going in there. Yes, single-family homes, yeah. And that's it. Sorry I ran over.
Thank you, Deb. Well, we finally got to use our little signs anyway. But thanks for your time. Next up is Tom McPhee, and he's going to give us an update on the pub.
So, first of all, I'd like to thank Levon for the agenda. So we had EMR, which is an amazing volunteer group that looks after us, Hopewell Fire Department, traffic safety, and then I get to get up and talk about food and drink. I mean, perfect, because we want to promote the Kahite Pub and Grill so you don't have to drive on Niles Ferry. You can walk to the pub, you can walk home, maybe take your golf cart, but it's a great place. So first, I had a slide in here, but it didn't do justice, and Levon canceled it. But we have an absolutely amazing venue here. And whenever you walk out, come up, please take time to look out and view the mountains, view the venue we have here. It is absolutely astounding. And a lot of you, some of you, will remember what we used to have, the double wide and everything. We have come a long way. And it shows in the numbers. In 2017, we were $198,000 sales. This year, we're projected to be just a little under 900,000 because of all your support. So please, thank you. So we did do a survey, and there was 363 households who responded. Some of the highlights, and we listened, some of the highlights were music nights, too loud. Got it. So I've told every band we bring in here now has to be 95 decibels or below or lower. And also it said, do more theme nights, music nights. So we had Jimmy Buffett night, which was right cheeseburger in paradise, great, well attended. We've got a 1950 sock hop coming up with AM and station, so we're doing those. The other on the survey were service was generally well complimented. Menu request was for new items. So they continue to try and do specials. Some of them are appreciated, some of them are used, some of them are not. I had the taco bowl yesterday. It was great, but they don't sell a lot. So please, if you see the specials and Angie puts them out, come up and try them. If they sell well, they'll continue. Breakfast. Another request was for breakfast. So they have full breakfast Saturday and Sunday starting from 9 o'clock. Saturday is kind of, Sunday's well attended. Saturday, not so much. But they'll continue to do and try new things to get support. And the other thing is rather than do surveys, you get on all your bills, you get a QR code. If you scan that, you can fill out a survey immediately and give them feedback. But if there's any issues, Angie says, please tell us. Let your waitress fix it right then. Don't wait and go home and talk about it. Loyalty program. So 75% of the people are members of a loyalty program. It's great. So you sign up, you get $10 off immediately that you can use within 7 days. If you spend $300, you get 3% back, $10 off. You get notified by text, all the specials, Yacht Club, Tokwa, all of them. So please, if you haven't signed up, do it. We are currently looking at a new POS system that will make that easier. So it will relate to a credit card. It'll be easy to sign in. They won't have to write down your phone number. So last, Kahite was a poster child for why the POA decided to bring all the restaurants in-house. It used to be AWE ran Tokwa, Yacht Club, and previously Tenassi. All of those are now POA restaurants. So every dollar you spend in a restaurant now goes back directly to your POA. So continue to support it, and thanks to Angie and her staff for looking after us, and hope to see you all up here.
Thank you, Tom. Mike?
Thanks, Levon. I'm part of the Kahite Beautification Committee. This is not like the same email you got about the Teleco Beautification Committee, golf fundraiser, silent auction. Those folks do great work doing things around the clubhouse and the golf course. Our group, which I have to give a lot of credit to Kim Rohde and Teresa Benlardi, who worked for years on the front entrance, the roundabout, the guardhouse, and the triangle down at Kahite. We're in charge of those four, only those four gardens, okay? There are four basically kind of executive officers of the Beautification Committee, myself, Doug Lottis, who is on his way leaving us, moving closer to grandkids, Terry Maltz, and Tina Kais. So Doug and I kind of do the irrigation part. Tina and Terry do the flowers. They work with Teleco Landscape. We have volunteers within the group who walk the gardens every day. They monitor the plants, they check moisture levels, they tell Doug or myself, hey, we're getting way too much water here, or there's really damp here, these plants are drowning, whatever. Terry and Tina work very closely with Zach at Teleco Landscape, and they've done a great job for us in terms of giving us discounts. The services they provide are outstanding. They're going to start planting in early May, so just a couple weeks away. And they come out and they weed, they do pre-emergent fertilizer, they do a lot of applications for us at a pretty good discount. They hadn't raised their rates, I think it was 5 or 6 years we talked about. So it's really been a great working relationship with them. We also work with the POA Public Works, specifically with the irrigation. So they come out and we have a broken head, we had a line cut, whatever, they'll come out and help us fix it. Doug and I do some minor repairs, but they're very responsive. Normally we call them the next day, the next morning, they're out there working on stuff. They do a great job with that, and we really appreciate Matt and Caleb's help with that part of it. So we try to keep those gardens looking as good as we can. We change them out, change out the flowers in the fall, you get those mums. We're looking at a lot of different things. Tina and Terry have made selections for this spring coming up. I know one of the big questions was what happened with the trees in the roundabout. They were tagged several years ago as being dangerous. They're dead on the inside and potentially going to be able to come down in the streets. So we talked with the POA. They brought out an arborist, and we had 6 trees identified. The arborist said, you know what, the 4.5, definitely they have to come down. And by half, there was a tree that had a V in it, if you remember that. One of the sides was dead, the other one they said was still viable. We'll see if that's viable or not. My opinion, they should have taken it down, but I wasn't in charge of the money. So the POA did that. They took those trees down as a safety measure for everyone. So we're gonna continue to monitor that. One of the big reasons why we had to have those taken down, aside from the fact that they were a safety hazard, is they didn't allow any sunlight to get into the circle to grow grass. Our goal is to make that area very smooth. We worked with the chain gang to come out and do some work and take a look at it. We're going to try to make that more of a parkland setting than it is right now, because if you walk in there in July, August, it's dry, it's dirt, it's dust, but if you walk in there in the spring, it is mud. So we're trying to get that to get that a little bit better. So that's why we ask for your fundraising help. Pam's out front with her jug. We've got about 50% participation thus far. We asked for a suggested donation of $30. We'll take anything. Some people are very generous and go over and above. Some people say 10 or 20 bucks, whatever. That's fine, great. We appreciate that. That all goes pretty much to the Teleco landscape, and then any other needs that happen to come up. We need to replace some heads that we can do internally without involving the POA, because it's a weekend. You know, we'll have 2 or 3 heads on hand that we can replace those. That's where the money goes. And it all stays here. Some people say, well, the POA should be taking over those gardens. If you go to the main village, you take a look at an entrance to a neighborhood, you can see why we want to keep it in-house, because ours look great, okay? That's all I got. Thanks very much.
And Mitch, are you ready with your 2-hour? You got 15.
We can do it. We can do it. We can. Do you want to hit the button, or do you want me to do it for you? Do it. Right or left? Right. Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for caring, for coming out, and this. And I always look forward to coming out. It doesn't matter if it's an election year or not. This is so important to come out. And I was just thinking, Tom, just a couple of years ago, you were explaining the transition of this pub, and folks were a little anxious about that. And I just looked at 2023's revenues and what the projected 25 revenues, and that's incredible. Sometimes it's worth taking the risk, folks, and you all are willing to do that, and I appreciate that. And I look around the room, Ginger, for what you all do with the EMRs, and Zach, it's amazing, and you should brag on yourself, because you're a fortunate community to have some of the folks and the services that you have that is organic, that is grown right here and operated right here. So I appreciate that. And I was thinking about all the things that intertwine to what we do. The sheriff talked about the workhouse program. You know, one of my components and what I do is workforce development. And what a better way of workforce development when we have like a 3%, 4% unemployment rate is get some of those folks back into the workforce out of our jail and off your tax dollars. So that, and I love working with Sheriff Jones for that, but there's just so many things. And you know, Zach, I know was mentioning, and certain we're going to help him in anything that he needs to do to try to get this station in this community, and I know our county commission will do that as well. But I just want to thank you, and you know, and I'm so glad that we got the gorilla out of the way early, you know, because I am glad that you feel my pain sometimes on how other federal and state governments work. Oh, by the way, the new projected timeline is 2028. So I told Paul that we got 3 more years to talk about this. So, but the important thing is continue to do what you're doing. And Please don't take this secret outside of this room, but sometimes the greasy wheel gets the attention. Keep being the greasy wheel on that stoplight, and we'll certainly assist you. So, all right, I'm going to try. Miss Paulette, please come up here. You're just as much a part of this presentation as anyone, and I always like to start out by showing where your tax dollars go. Okay, your property tax, your sales tax, things like that, because I want you to understand something important. And obviously, we're not supposed to talk politics tonight, so I'm not going to talk politics, but the last 4 years in this country, we've experienced approximately 20% inflation. And your elected officials, county commission, we have kept the same budget with the 20% inflation. And that is more money in your pocket. Now, we've had to tighten the purse strings on some things, but just like you pay more for a dozen eggs, I don't know why eggs get all the attention these days on groceries, but I mean, everything, rock goes up, fuel goes up, everything goes up, but with all of that inflation, we want to make sure that we protect your money. So 50% of all property taxes goes directly to education, and then a small portion, 25%, goes into basically the rest of the county departments, what we call 101, the general fund. Sheriff Jones and his departments, and there's just so many. My 15 departments, so 25% of that tax dollar goes into that. And then you have approximately 7% on highway department and some other departments as well. So I want you to realize basically 75% of your tax dollars, well, 70, almost 83 with counting highway, are going into, and only 2% of solid waste, and we'll highlight that. So everyone, well, where's my tax money going? Where's my tax money? So we wanted to show you that. So I'm going to get to write some great things, and this goes right along with how we started the evening with emergency response and things like that. Just some data. Every quarter, my 15 department heads, along with the other elected officials, we compile quarterly reports for the county commission, and we use that as data points, just like how many calls we're in 2025 for the EMRs and things like that, and we track things countywide too. And our emergency management has really been busy over the last quarter, especially with some wildfires. Obviously, they try to back up our volunteer fire departments. Search and rescue, we're a little bit on edge. We're trying to go through the reopening plan of the Ball River Fall Bridge. I can't give you that exact date because it's one of these, federal government secrets again. But, and believe me, that date's been pushed back and pushed back, but we're close, I think, Paulette, by the end of the month, 1st of next month. But we're planning on how to handle that because, something new, everybody wants to run to it, right? That means more traffic, more accidents, things like that. So we're trying to make those plans. And training, what you all talk about, community preparedness and training. And, being an educator, in education 22 years, I believe in being a lifelong learner. Any nugget that we can pick up every day, Paulette, to help us in our job, our community, our church, our civic work, whatever it is, certainly, and we as Monroe County, we want to help provide that. Believe it or not, just before we came, Paulette, the sheriff, and myself, we had a county commission meeting discussing our medical examiner budget and position, and we're changing the blueprint, how that looks. We're comparing it to some other counties as a model across the state. We think that'll be much better. Our GIS and our mapping department, and I'm not going to go through all 15 departments, so don't think that I am. But I want to say our GIS department, our mapping department, is a service to you all. especially in this day and age of technology, that they offer a wonderful, wonderful service. It could be maps, it could be data points, it could be create a map for you. It could be something as simple as finding where all the sprinklers are on the golf course. We have data. We have drones now in Monroe County in different departments, different size drones, to either help with search and rescue or just get photos of an event or something like that, and that comes through that department. So we certainly, if you need a map, even if it's a safety map, like what Zach was showing, he was showing his coverage, the 30 square miles. Zach, so I was listening, right? 30 square miles of his coverage area. You know, that's a map that's generated through us. Strategic planning. We as a county have different ordinances that we must follow, and I know one of the discussions that I heard, and I'm not trying to pass the buck, I'm not, but I know we're all, because Paulette and I, as the county, we receive these calls too on the developments in Von Orr, and those are falling under the city of Von Orr, so unfortunately we as the county don't have much say over that, but what I'm being told by Mayor Hammondtree and the Von Orr Planning Commission, they are going through the processes, but certainly we're trying to be aware of what's going on with that department, and Stacy and Heather do a great job. Infrastructure, this is the good stuff that I like to talk about. Very proud of this. Again, this goes back to things that this tower, this emergency radio tower, is in Sweetwater, but it affects Kahite just as well, because we were talking about response times for Zach's fire department with Hopewell, with the EMS service, with the sheriff office. That is all based, and I'll tell you, folks, that's a higher pay grade. This radio and satellite stuff is a lot higher pay grade than me. But I do realize we have to have it, and we have to have the very best, because time is of the essence on an emergency call. And the reason this location, for whatever reason, was selected on the interstate on 75, it is one of the dead spots in the entire county for internet, cell phone service, and things. You know, we think of places, Paulette, like Ball Play, Coker Creek. It's on I-75 at the Sweetwater, Philadelphia area. That's the reason that the county invested approximately $1.5 million into this. Providing water, we're continuing to provide water. Paulette helped this district and this community get this Howard's Chapel project done last year, so we're moving into another project in the Madisonville area. Then we'll be moving to the Sweetwater. And I've always said one of the greatest highlights of any of us in public service is to provide someone a natural resource like water. Most folks are interested in Wi-Fi, correct, and broadband. Well, there are some folks in some areas in the county who don't have what we call city water. So County Commission has been so great when I've went and asked, can we do this project? They've been very supportive. A project that may not be on your radar, but I'm very excited about, that we're funding through some grant funding. This is what we refer to as the Stone Building in Madisonville. This is the original health department. It is across the street from Josh Rule's State Farm. So what we're doing, along with the city of Madisonville, partnering, and I believe in partnering and teamwork in everything that we do, we are renovating this into the Monroe County Heritage Center. Hiwassee College has some memorabilia that will be in there, but what you see is some construction that is currently going on, and you know, with some restrooms and things like that. So not only when the city of Madisonville has some festivals downtown, we'll have even more, because I'll be honest, I get tired looking at the porta potties in downtown. Let's have some permanent public restrooms. And so that's what one of the goals of this is. You see the blue buildings below as some of our airport hangars, and And I bragged on this before, and Miss Paulette, she's been a supporter of the Monroe County Airport, that it is a key economic driver in our county from a revenue standpoint. And it is just amazing what Tom has done out there, and we're continue to see that. Tourism, even though with the hit that we took with COVID, and especially in the Tellico Plains area with the hit that we took with the Ball River Bridge being closed, and things like that, we're still in the top third in the state in tourism, and that is good. We have a phrase in Monroe County: come to Monroe County, spend your money, and go home. Okay? Go home. Sheriff don't have to worry about you. We don't have to worry about developments or planning. Just give us your tax dollars and go home, right? So we're very supportive of our tourism. And, we don't want to be a severe county or something like that where we need more red lights, right? But we're very proud of the resources that we have. Economic development. Kimberly's here tonight, and she is she's one of the best grant writers in workforce development and business wizards in the world, and I really appreciate what she does. Everything that's been talked about tonight is economic development, from the pub to the highways to everything that you've talked about. So, and one of the things that I challenged her to do, and it's like she needed another job, but Monroe County Chamber of Commerce has a Monroe Leadership Program. And I certainly recommend anyone in here, because I don't know how many Kahite graduates that we've had, I would encourage you to enroll in that leadership program with the Chamber of Commerce. This is just a small snapshot of what Paulette and I talk about tonight, but it'll give you a great picture of what happens in Monroe County, not just in government, but everything. So my challenge to Kimberly was we needed to take that to our youth, because you know what? They're our future leaders, okay? You all, the folks sitting in this room, are the current leaders, but those, believe it or not, those 14 and 15-year-olds will be making decisions for us one day. And that's important, and I want them to have that idea of what it's really like. So, of course, we've got the best veterans center in the world, and I appreciate the veterans in this room tonight. This country wouldn't be what it is without you. Von Orr Convenience Center, up and running, right? And I want you to look at a little stat. Since November, and this has probably changed a little bit, 11,000 cars have already come through that facility, okay? Now some of you have hit some of my yellow posts down there and may have some yellow paint on your trucks, but we are very, very proud of that facility. And we are continuing to work on the drop-off recycling here in Kahite. We were very close to getting that done, and of course you all had a change of leadership with the village, and so those were kind of restarting again. So we're still working on that, and I believe, again, the greasy wheel gets the attention. We're very proud. I know we shouldn't be proud to brag about garbage, but this is something that this community deserves. And if you've never been there, if you've not had the opportunity to go down there yet, it is a great facility. Not only here because of the growth here in this section of the county, we're updating some of our equipment across the counties, Sweetwater, Madisonville. The transfer station in Von Orr is still operational. Believe every ounce of garbage still goes to that facility from this county. And it's amazing how many trucks are hauled into there. And of course, it's eventually hauled out, typically to the McMinn County landfill. So, since we got the Paulette Summey Memorial Convenience Center open now, we're we're very excited to move to the next one in Tellico Plains because they deserve one. That property has been purchased, and in fact, we're in the process of, and hopefully by the end of the next fiscal year, we'll have that up and running. Very, very proud of this. And it's because of the people in this room, okay? The sheriff was talking about volunteers. Zach was talking about, everyone was talking about the donations for the beautification program. This facility is because of the folks in this room, along with some others that made this possible, and that's the Eastbourne Animal Center. And of course, you know, we have transitioned a little bit in our roles, the county versus the Monroe County Friends of Animals, into our leadership. But certainly, it is still a partnership, hand in hand, and, you know, they're making tweaks and adjustments as they go, but certainly we're there to help. But thank you for this. This is something that folks are coming in from all over the state and adjoining states, North Carolina, Georgia, to see this facility because it's so amazing. And again, thank you. And we were just excited to be a part of it. Of course, the fairground facility, you're going to see that beginning to come fruition soon. The governor just passed his budget with the amendments that has the funding for this facility in it. And Paulette, before I hit this, certainly you're a big supporter of this community. Are there some things that you want to say?
Yes. I today spoke with the chairman of the board of directors over Sequoia and the new project. TVA
Charlie, I believe. Charlie.
No.
Yeah.
This is a gentleman that he is part of the
Oh, he's on
Eastern
the
Band.
board.
He's on the board,
Yeah,
the board of directors for the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians. I forgot his name, spoke to him one time. But he said that TVA had finally approved the plans. The plans had been changed so many times, and the water park had been approved. But only the water park. It was everything on the land, the side, and the red light. There wasn't a red light as well, but the proposal was to have a red light to come out of Niles Ferry Industrial Park. Well, the board of directors don't want it there. They want it 350 feet down. It would be beneficial to help the people leaving the industrial park if the light were there. But with the final plans, financial people are anxious, excited. He's saying that we should see something happening, but he wouldn't give me a date at this point. So, but we do have the TVA approval. That's the very important thing. And if they don't change it, if they change the plans, it starts all over and be several months again. But he's hoping that something will be done. Charlie Rodomer spoke to him, and they've got a 90-foot exhibition that's coming, and it's about the Cherokee women and their clothing over centuries. There are 12-foot panels with explanations in between, so it will be winding through the museum, and he's hoping that a lot of people will come and see it because it sounds absolutely amazing to me. I want to go see it, and I told him I wanted to be one of the first in the door. But there's people in your community that have my number. I have calls from several people from time to time. But one of the things with living in Von Orr, growing up in Von Orr all my life, we have a Veterans Memorial Park across from City Hall. That is sponsored by the Von Orr Museum, who is, now I'm the only curator there. I'm the volunteer. But we need help with web design and some other things. But that's an update, and I've been on the city mayor as well. I don't want more storage buildings on Highway 411. And I made that very clear to the mayor, and I told him to take it to the planning commission, because it's the planning commission that approves those. Put them off the road somewhere, but not on 411, because we can make it a beautiful little town. And when I grew up here, it was a gorgeous little town. But a lot of it has deteriorated over the years and no one's cared. But that comes from the city government, and I'm complaining.
You know, and I will say this, and Greg's telling me that time's up. There's a lot of things that we do to actually protect you, like what she's saying in storage. Kimberly, a perfect example, you know, her job is to recruit industry, right? We turned an industry away that could have made Monroe County quite a bit of money because of the smell. Those are decisions that we make because, you know, we want to, it's not all about the money, folks. It's about the space, the place that we live in. I appreciate what you do. Keep doing what you do. Stay involved. I mean, you're our biggest cheerleaders. I mean, doesn't matter if it's at the animal shelter or the schools or the volunteer fire department or the EMR, you're our biggest cheerleaders, and we just appreciate what you do. And I look forward to coming back next year, LaVonda. If you have questions, we have a county, and I send it out to everyone, and certainly give Kimberly an email if you need to. I send out a Monday memo and a Friday fax with everything. And I appreciate Greg that comes to County Commission. I appreciate Mike and the Governmental Affairs Committee, all that they do, okay? I do, okay? Never a nuisance to our office. We appreciate and we like to hear. So please do that. One last thing, we do sometimes a Facebook Live through the week. And believe it or not, we did a senior fraud one earlier, a couple of weeks ago. When I said we went to the Justice Center and done it with a couple of detectives, and Kimberly said, "Now what are we doing again?" And I said, "This is important to folks." And because my dad is one of those that gets those calls every day, and you know, he would fall for it hook, line, and sinker. So we just wanted to share some of that. So I appreciate LaVonda, what she does, and here's the remote, and we'll be around, and Greg's going to get the hook after me here in just a sec. Thank you.
Tellico Village POA. Ed, are you still in the building? He's going to give us an update. Do you want to do the slides, or do you want me to? I can push them.
I can do them. Well, thank you, everybody. I know it's been long. I'm going to try to be quick on these slides. I know that you'll probably have questions for me at the end, so. Okay, a lot of questions about the property on 7 and 8. That is under contract at this point. It is a sealed contract. You see they've about been surveying that property out there. That property is owned, and we will retain developer rights for the POA, which means they have to follow all POA rules and regulations, ACC, like any other house built here. They will pay POA fees. They will be part of Kahite just like any other house and any other block here in Kahite, okay? Once this contract is looking to be finalized sometime in June, once it's finalized, I will be able to come and give you more details on that. There's all kinds of rumors of how many houses going on there. They're still doing their due diligence, checking for sinkholes and stuff like that. So the plan could change at any point before it's final, okay? So, property along 1st and 9th holes. You've probably seen people out there surveying it in the last couple of months. We purchased this property from Cooper about 3 years ago. Originally, the property along 1 was supposed to be townhouses in the master plan. That will not be the case. It'll be some lots, about 5 to 7 lots, depending on how it finalizes out, that'll be single-family homes. Also down by 9, past Kahite Green, there's 2 to 3 lots that'll also be up for development for homes. We are not looking for any multifamily at this point. It's all single-family homes. Okay? The property along 17 that we bought from Cooper. There's a lot of trails and stuff back there. The POA met, and we looked at that. It's extremely difficult to develop that property because you'd have to build a bridge to get back there between two homes. It's very hilly, so you'd have to have very big lots and very difficult to put road, water, and sewer back there. So we're looking to leave that as recreation. So that will continue to be trails for the people out there, and recreation, and the chain gang will continue to develop that area. The front entrance property. We bought that separately a few years ago because they wanted to put a storage facility up there, tear down all our trees and everything. So the POA reached out and bought that property. So long-range planning kind of looked at what can we put up there. So the items we're looking at are firehouse for Hopewell. That's one of the places we're looking at to put up we're in discussions about donating an acre of land to Hopewell up there. There's a lot of legal items you have to go through it because it's under covenants. So we're looking and researching that right now. The other options were a dog park, garden, and also possibly some storage up there for like RVs, boats, and jet skis. So that would all be way hidden. Those trees would never go away in the entrance. So you would never see any of this stuff. It would always way behind the entrance. Okay? Okay, the big thing, water and sewer. So Kahite's right now in a test plan for remediating what they call RDI, which is basically infiltration of water during storms. Okay, a lot of times we'll get 2 or 3 inches of rain. We found that our consumption normally is about 100,000 gallons a day that goes out our sewer system. In some rainfalls, it goes up to 300,000 gallons. So the problem is our pumps can't handle that. We've had, in the last 10 months, we've had 3 overflows of sewage at the sewage thing over here on Kahite Trail. If we have 5, the state can shut down from any new building of additions or anything in property. So originally in the TAP plan, Kahite was number 5 on the list. It's now number 2 on the list. So the drain-driven intrusion, we're doing a study here in Kahite. You've seen them put out meters in a few neighborhoods. In the neighborhoods they put them in, there's like 1 out for the sewer. So they can measure that whole neighborhood. There's 3 spots they've done that. So we're doing that. Then we're going to try mediate by raising the lids, seeing in some places where it's been identified that they're below grade and water might be running towards those during the rain and getting in there. That could be causing some of this. That is the inexpensive solution, okay? So we're going to try that, and Kahite's going to be the test for the whole village on this. They've already inspected every home's cover in the village. And as you can see, 650 tanks, 213 tanks were identified as potential problems. We've already replaced some 25 tank lids. In doing that, the actual found 2 tanks that had to be dug up and replaced because tree roots were in the tanks. The lids may be part of the problem, but it may not be the only part of the problem, as we're seeing here. This test will help eliminate that top-level problem. The below-level ground problem gets very expensive and very difficult to fix. So they're putting 5 extensions. So probably in the next 3 to 4 months, once we get more data from rainfall, so we have to wait for more rainfall to get more data. So, and we need heavy rainfall. We don't need just a light little drizzle. We need a 2-3 inch rainfall in order for really to get the information that we need. So once that's done, they will be coming in the room and replacing those lids on those 213 homes that have been identified. And hopefully that will help. We'll still have the meters out there to monitor long term, something like that. So what we're looking at in next week, final design is going to go to the board for approval for money for the Kahite pump station upgrade. Originally in the TAP program was looking for a buried tank in Kahite right by the driving range. But we're hoping we don't have to do that and just upgrade the pumps to do more volume. So by doing more volume, in the numbers we're getting, if we can do some at R&I, most likely we won't need a tank. That will save us about $3 million. So that's a big chunk. We just eliminated the tank in the main village, which is about $8 million. So we're looking ways to reduce this and to try to keep our funding lower than what we had originally anticipated. And with that, our pumps and piping and monitoring is actually ancient. So if you ever watch those submarine movies where they're cranking the things closed, that's how they control our pumps here for our sewage. So we're going to, part of the upgrade was doing remote stuff can be remotely monitored and adjusted. So that's all going to be we're going to bring us up to the current century on water and sewer. The water plant study came back, our pressure is fine. We have no issues. We don't need to improve fresh water at all. It's just the sewer portion that we have some issues that we have to look at. Now, the Kahite front entrance fence. Several years ago, we've identified that there were some issues with it. I walked that fence several times, both sides, up and down. There are some of those posts are crumbling. They're not just the stucco on them. It's the concrete block, the foundation below it. Unfortunately, they were never maintained day one. So we're looking, PSAC went out and got a quote for that, Public Works got a quote for last year. They said it was going to be $500,000 to fix that fence. Sorry, I don't know anybody on the POA board that would vote $500,000 to fix a fence. So we have $200,000 in the budget next year to find a solution for that fence. So what I'm asking for is a committee of Kahitians to come together and help us find a solution. Once that solution is found, we would then present it in a meeting like this to Kahite, maybe have a vote on it, we could set up electronic voting, and find a solution that might make that $200,000 budget, or less, I'm hoping, because it's kind of a signature piece for us. I mean, if we can find a way to repair it for that money, great. If we can find a combo solution or some other solution, great. But I really want this to come from Kahite and have people have input on it. I don't want the POA dictating what that's going to be there. So if you contact me, send me an email, and you want to be this committee, let me know. I will put that together, and then we can all start looking at a solution for this. Okay? Otherwise, if we don't do this, it's just going to deteriorate, and we don't want that. It's our entrance to our beautiful neighborhood, and we want to keep it nice and beautiful. Okay? Mm-hmm. And that's it. I'll be here for questions afterwards.
You did great. You don't have a lot of time.
Go to number 4. I'm going to save time. I'm going to jump right to slide number 4. Jeff Johnson, Architectural Control Committee, ACC. We review home permits, changes, things like that, for aesthetics. We want the community to be beautiful. So we've got a committee that meets once each month on the first Thursday. And what I want to just spend a few minutes tonight talking about is the Blue Book. The Blue Book pertains to residential properties, the standards for those. We also have a Red Book, which pertains to commercial properties. There are a few. Most importantly, the one we are going to be talking about now and in the near future is going to be the new Tenasseee Clubhouse. So while a lot of that's being taken care of by the board, the Blue or the Red Book does come into play in terms of those standards. What I'd like to do is just focus on, we do have the Blue Book revisions that occur about once every year. They're happening right now. Ed and the board, I think, are going to be finalizing their approval of that this coming monthly meeting. And yep. So here are the things that are in the changes for this month, for this year. Solar panels. If you're going to do solar panels, they must be in the rear plane of the roof house, rear plane roof of the house. We did allow some other places, but that didn't go well. So everything now has to be on the rear roof plane. Drainage, last year we had biblical proportion rains, right? So that clearly caused some I&I problems, but it also caused a lot of people landscaping problems, a lot of washout of people's landscaping, lawns, etc. For the first time, we're now going to have a drainage alteration permit. If you're going to do something that you're trying to control the drainage around your house on your property, it's going to have to meet some standards. Just don't throw down some fabric and some river rock if you've got a problem, because that's probably just going to wash out. So we're going to have some requirements around that. Effluent pump tank, Ed just kind of alluded to that. You've got people walking around, checking things out. Make sure your landscaping allows for drainage around that. Home generators. If you've got a home generator, there's going to need to be screened, much like a hot tub needs to be screened. Right-of-way. Right-of-way is generally the 25 feet that exists from the middle of the road onto your property. Some people, I haven't seen around here, but we've seen some people around the other parts of the village that do not maintain that. There's a requirement to maintain that just as there is the rest of your property. So that's been spelled out here in the new blue book. Fences, we've had some requests from time to time to do some temporary fences, something that somebody could take with them or take down. We're no longer allowing that, must be permanent. In terms of colors, we've got some discretion, exterior colors, painted siding, etc. We've got some discretion. We used to be more restrictive. We got a lot of black houses, white houses, some different colors going up now. We've got some discretion, but we're still going to be fairly choosy about those colors. Demolition permit. We actually have a demo that's going to be occurring over the Mialacqua area. We didn't have anything in the blue book about demolition standards. Those are going to go in. And then there's a host of other things, little small things that are in there that pertain mostly to new builds. So I won't go spend much time with that now. So what kind of questions do we come up or encounter in our monthly meetings? A lot of times we got discussions about easements. Easement is the generally 7.5-foot stretch of property between off the property boundary towards your house. Side to side, you got about 20 feet in front of the house, and then depending on where you are, say if you're on the golf course, it's going to be probably more than 7.5 feet in the back. You could have more of a golf course easement. And that 7.5 is utility easement. We're just not allowing anybody to do anything permanent there. Landscape rock, okay. A tree, a bush, okay. But if you want to do a sidewalk or a retaining wall, no, we're not going to allow that. Drainage, when builders are building, people are always concerned about how is this going to affect the drainage across my property. There are engineered drainage plans, and we work with the builders to make sure that everything works there. And then finally, a lot of questions about are the contractors going to be parking on the road, and is that going to cause me a problem? They're not supposed to. If you've got that problem, please let the POA know, and we'll make sure the contractors abide by that. So last item, there was also a question about how many platted lots do we have in Kahite and what's the build out so far? 840 lots in Kahite, 637 permitted to date. Now that's actually probably a little bit higher than that because there have been some where adjacent lots have been combined and somebody's built over the line. So it's probably more, if you really take that into account, permit's going to pertain to 2 lots in that case, right? So you're still looking at you got about a quarter of the lots that have been undeveloped yet still in Kahite. Year to date, 9 permits, 26 last year. So, yeah, I'll stop there.
Thanks, Jeff. Can we table yours? And, okay, come on up.
I sat for 2 hours.
I just want to make sure we have enough time for questions.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just want to let people know there've been questions about this thing we call Kahite Green Space. What it was is after this sale of lots down by the docks, people were concerned about the lack of trees and things going away that we've been used to. And so a group of people got together. It's an ad hoc group. Anybody can join. There's 16 of us so far, and we just represent all the different spots in Kahite that have to do with green spaces. So that could be common property. We've already talked about governance, the POA board, the ACC you've just heard from, the Long Range Planning Committee is involved, and Parks and Rec. Next one. The golf course, there's not been good communication, and so we're trying to make sure any golf adjacent properties, what is happening, who approves that, does anybody approve that? We just want to try and encourage trees and get rid of some invasive species and that sort of thing. The other, there are 3 groups here. Jordan Clark on the golf course kind of oversees it. There's him, there's the Beautification and the Audubon, and then also the Bluebird Trails maintained. Next one. Common property. We've got Kahite Beautification, which is the formal gardens, the 4 that they talked about earlier. But nothing's really looked at in terms of all the other common properties. There's the chain gang that does the trails. There's a group called Wild Bunch who's planting wildflowers. And next one. And then there are all these resources for property owners that want to do more things with their own properties. So our goal is just to encourage communication about these different groups and who's doing what. And our primary focus at this point is to stay on top of what's happening with the new development down by the docks and to do better communication with common property and also with the golf course.
Thank you. So now we have some time for questions and answers. I know we have a stop at 8, but if there are a number of questions, we can probably go a little bit longer. Or you can also send me your questions. Does anybody have anything that they would like to come up? Lisa has a question.
I don't know if this is an Ed question or a Laura question.
Do you want to come up to the mic?
So I don't know if this is an Ed question or a Laura question, but it has to do with the development at 7 or 8, because that's right along my house, and the helipad that's right there. And I don't know if this is rumor, but I've heard that the helipad is going away, and I want to know if the helipad is going away, where is it slotted to go someplace else? Because that is important to me that we maintain that.
It is going to go away because that land is going to be used for homes. Right now, there is no designation. In the past, they have landed a helicopter on the fairways of 9 and 1. So I think that might be a solution we look at again. I mean, right now when they use that helipad, they close down the 8th hole because the helicopters come in. I've been there when that's happened. So I think that is one solution right now we can look at. But we can actually look for another area to do that. The problem is there isn't really a whole lot of flat areas that are available.
Well, and that was a flat area, and that, I mean, Massa comes here and they sell to us because we are a remote community to have a helicopter service for medical needs, which I purchased because of that, thinking that this is an amenity that Kahite offered, and for it just to be eliminated and not put someplace else is not good planning.
There's also some land off of one that is not going to be developed behind the tennis courts that's going to be used for recreation, and that is pretty flat, so we might be able to use that.
There's lines close by.
That's the problem. That's
There are
the problem
lines
in
close
most of the
by.
places. But I know
Trust me, I've looked.
previously, before we had that a few years ago, they were landing on 1 and 9. And they would clear off the golf course to do that.
Okay.
Yes, it also, yeah. Yes, I've seen that land, yes. So they're landing at the school ball field too. So that would be a short ambulance ride for anybody there too. So, yeah.
Hi, I just had a question. About a month or so ago, there was a meeting, they asked about support for an extra detective for the sheriff's department.
Support for what, Lori?
An extra detective for the sheriff's department to handle the human trafficking. I just wondered, was that ever resolved? Did they get the funding for that, or what?
He has requested it or has not?
Has not.
He has not requested
Not
it.
formally to the county.
Okay.
And it would have to be addressed in the upcoming budget, and that starts July 1st.
It would have to be addressed in the upcoming budget, and that starts July 1st. So is that something, Paulette, that we need to reach out to Tommy, or?
I mean, the understanding was that was what they're gonna do, and we were supposed to ask for support.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear anything.
Sheriff, for the extra detective that you were asking for?
An extra detective? Oh, the,
That's in the upcoming budget. We've turned that into our finance director, budget workshops, and we'll call it May. The budget workshops then. We've had the position for 3 years on a grant. The grant expired. So, yes, it is written in the budget. I hope it passes, and so it'll go in July.
okay, so the response is it is budgeted, what you're referring to.
Not budgeted through the county as of yet. It's budgeted through a grant.
Okay, it's budgeted through a grant, not through the county.
It's written into the new budget that's submitted, but it's not been approved yet.
Okay. Okay, so it's to be submitted and approved, hopefully approved in this year's budget in July. Close?
Hi, just wondering how our community of Kahitians can support our desperate neighbors on Naduli, because this has been a continuing problem for years, that our neighbors have had to endure a home that should be condemned, and I just talked to the mayor, and he said he's going to call the health department. The situation. This situation is so desperate that this disturbed human being is walking up to people and being naked in their driveways and doing these kind of things. Okay, if you don't know about this, take a drive down the Dooley and you will see the home that I'm talking about. This is a desperate situation, and our own sheriff fortunately has to move across from this, but it's ongoing.
Yeah, we're aware.
And I know you
Does-
guys are aware, and I know that maybe in the few days coming up that this might happen and come to fruition, that the $80,000 in the POA can buy this house. But again, it's ongoing, and it has to come to fruition for the safety of our neighborhood and for the safety of at least 4 widows that live on that street. It has to stop. It has to stop.
Who would
afraid to live in my community.
Tommy or which of you would like to take this? Yes, please.
I've gone through this for years. Tommy, and you know exactly what's happening.
Well, as you know, my driveway is
And what
directly,
happened last Friday?
yes.
And he came up on my driveway. I was in the back of the house. I didn't hear him. He was cussing me out and just
Mm-hmm.
going like this. My husband is deceased. I'm there by myself.
Yes.
And I'm afraid.
And I agree with you. As you know, my driveway is directly across the road from this home that's been spoke of, and several of us live very close. And he went to jail on, now as far as what the POA does with the home and what happens with it, there's nothing I can do about that. Trust me, I wish I could, because it would be a lot different. My wife and son feels the same way. They're not safe anymore. When I'm home, there's not much worries, even with you guys, because I watch Sue. I worry about every one of you. But he went to jail on January the 1st, New Year's night. We kept him in jail until a week ago Friday, and he fell into possession of a handgun, drug paraphernalia, driving without a license. He had worked a deal his attorney had with the district attorney's office that he would take a plea of 120 days with jail credit, including the gun charge. So 90 days is honestly what he got. He was released and was out 1 week, and he'd done all of this. I'm in Loudon at the dermatologist. My son's trying to get hold of me because he's in my driveway doing it first, and then goes to another neighbor's house and through jails, and no clothes, carrying a stick, screaming, yelling. They felt threatened. I didn't answer the phone. I was talking to a doctor. So anyways, he gets hold of my patrol captain. They come out and arrest him. The DA has revoked his bond. The deal's off the table for the 90 days and time served, but with his criminal history, it only qualifies for 2 years at 30%, and that's what that's all the law allows. So hopefully this will be resolved with the resident before he's released from jail. And guys, you're exactly right. I worry about it if I have got to the point where I'm thinking about, hey, I'm going to sell, because guys, I can't go to work and deal with this all day and come home and deal with it. Just be honest with you.
But you couldn't sell your house.
I cannot.
No way.
No. That's what me and my wife had talked about. I said, if we go to list our home, we might as well take 20 or 30,000, go and put a new roof on, new garage doors, make theirs look really nice before we even list ours, because if not, we're going to lose a lot of money if it would even sell. And that's not good. You know, we all live here, and I moved here for a reason. This is a safe community I wanted to raise my family in, and it still is a safe community, minus that. And the 4 years that I've been his neighbor, and when he's fine, he's fine. But when he's not, he's not. And it's continued to get worse every single day. And the home has got worse. And, you know.
When he tells you he hears voices and he needs to burn a house down with people in it.
Yes.
And you've got our widows
Yes.
living on that street.
Yes.
There has to be something else that can be done more urgently
Mhm.
through our community commitment to take care of these people
Yes.
and to get them gone.
Yes.
Period.
I agree.
Can the POA not do anything about it?
That he'll have, yeah, I can't answer that. I'm same as you guys.
First off, the POA's been dealing with this for about 3 years. Every time we're about to, every time they're about to, this is before my time, folks. I've been here in the last year. The POA, to do it, they have lots of fines on that house, but he pays the fines. So we have to start the process over. Right now, we're in a final process in the next couple of weeks, hopefully to foreclose on that house and evict them. So, it's very close. It all becomes, problem is Tennessee state law makes it very hard to foreclose and evict somebody here. So, we have to abide by the law. The POA's probably spent $20,000, $30,000 over the years trying to get this resolved. So a lot of attorney time and effort. But we are there. Every time I see the attorney, I ask about this. So it is close. I've heard dates within the next week to week and a half. I can't confirm those, but I would like to say that this is going to come to fruition hopefully by the end of the month.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay.
If you have not been on the Dooley Trail and see this house, please do it. This is in your neighborhood.
Next
I cost
question.
thousands and thousands of dollars, because there's no way I could even sell my house.
Did you have a question?
And I pay
sir?
POA dues.
Hi. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. The properties that you were talking about that the POA's acquired and they're going to build single-family residence. When you say a single family residence, does that include condominiums?
Ed, a single-family resident, does a condo qualify as a single-family resident?
No, that's multifamily. So, yep.
Where did you get that?
They're
definition?
townhomes. No, a condo is considered multifamily because you tend to have 6 to 8 in a building.
The ones in Kahite Green, or is not?
Those are townhomes, or patio homes, yeah, but they're not condos.
Thank you.
Next question.
A couple questions for Zach, since he got 30 minutes time.
Come on up, Zach.
So, how much does the POA help Hopewell Fire Department compared to Tellico Village Fire Department?
So the POA itself, not the residents, outside of EMR and just first responders that live inside here, POA, Hopewell gets very, very little. It has to have some kind of direct, like they pay for the gas in the station where it keeps the truck warm, or they take care of the power. Typically, when we ask for anything that's fire direct related to help, we get a no. The truck 132 that sits in this area for y'all, the group that denied the money was the POA. Tellico Village Women's Association stepped in, took care of that. Typically, we spend about $5,000 or $6,000 a year on the golf tournament to rent the golf course.
How can people of Kahite do to get a new fire station?
So, the greasy wheel, squeaky wheel, put some grease on it.
Exactly.
I've tried for 4.5 years on my own. I've met with Winston. I've met with Chet. I've met with Ed. Ed, we are closer than we've ever been to having a lot to where I can look at getting grant funds, borrow funds, and do those kinds of things to put a station. But the more of y'all that want better protection and a station here that get out the pitchforks and chase everybody, I'll be able to get a station to be able to protect you better.
Is it true that the rumor that after 500 homes in Kahite, a station was supposed to be built?
That goal, I think, has actually moved 2 or 3 times.
Was never in writing.
Yes. You know what a good old boy handshake is? Yeah. So paperwork was not done. Good old boy handshakes were done. You know, lies were told. You know, sweet whispers in the ear that never fell through. It was 200 and something homes one time. Then it was 500, and now we're at 600 and something, and we're 70-something% built out. You know, we just want to protect you better, and we want to have a better facility to do it and provide more. So if you put pressure on your board, they don't listen to me. I don't live here. I just try to protect you. Anything else?
What's the brick for?
Oh, there's a brick on the back table. One of the fundraisers we're looking at doing is engraved bricks. You contribute an amount of money to a website. That money is directly marked for the station for you here. So it'll be a little online portal. Type out what you want on it. Keep it nice and sweet, please. We're going to install these bricks either around a memorial flag at the front of the station, depending on the ACC control. Hopefully we can do, you know, a nice American flag, state flag, and have it on a pole, you know, lit and everything else is the plan. Thank y'all.
I got a question for you, Ed. So
well,
that's
okay,
good,
well,
good
just
timing.
support. If you really want a fire station here, I am 1 vote. Takes 4 votes on the board to get things passed. They need to hear from you folks. So he's actually right. Put the pressure on. I am 1 vote, and they need to hear from you. They have not heard from anybody on this. So if you have a groundswell. That's not true. I sent them letters. Yeah, but you're 1 or 2 people. We need 50, 100, 500 to do it. Well, but I would send in a help spot. Use the help spot. Use the help spot. Use the help spot. We want a firehouse here. Help us get it. Okay?
Stay put, Ed.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Mike.
This is for Ed and our acting CEO.
Yeah.
Any golfer here that has played this golf course, excuse me, any man golfer that's played this golf course has used the bathroom on number 15.
Yeah.
It smells like a sewer pit. It has smelled like a sewer pit since 2002.
Okay.
Come on.
Well, I have a bad sense of smell, so I don't notice it, but, so I will check into it. I will put it on my list.
Let's
Okay.
fix the sewer
Okay.
pit,
I will check
okay?
into it. Yeah, okay.
Hi. Ed, you're looking at me. Just a real quick question. For the stoplight that on Niles Ferry, how many lanes will there be coming out from our direction to go this way?
That, I
go
do
that
not
way?
know. That would have to be, I think Deb left,
Oh,
but
she left?
I know they were talking at one point with a turn lane.
Mhm.
And, you know, and part of the problem with that, go by there and look at all the wires that
Oh,
are there.
I know, that's why I'm
There's
asking.
fiber internet for AT&T, TDS, Comcast, Charter. All that stuff's got to be moved, some dug up.
Right.
So that, you know, it's a big, and there's electrical lines there. So
Right.
that is part of the problem. And then they got to coordinate that with all those vendors.
Right. No, I understand.
Yeah.
I just, to have one long line going all the way up.
No, it's needed. And unfortunately, the history on that, when they did, like 4 or 5 years ago, they did a count, but they did it in the summer with no school kids there. So they had to redo the count based on what Deb and her team did. They got them to redo the count and relook at it, and they said back, we need it. So, working with the state, we're having the same issues that Deb said in the main village, where we want roundabouts at some danger intersections and streetlights. It's very difficult with TDOT to get something approved, then get it funded. So it's extremely difficult.
And I'll take that to Deb and see if she has a drawing, because they might have something. So, okay, I think we wrap up. If there are any questions, you get home and think about it. There's a couple of email addresses. I think you all know my Hotmail ID because I send out. But if you have any questions, just send them on. And remember, if you think that you missed something or if you want some information off a slide, this is going to be on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it and pick out information. And if everybody could help with the chairs, like we normally do, appreciate it. And on that bathroom deal, everybody needs to put in a help spot.